Our intention with this short documentary is not to blame government or FIFA's World Cup of Brazilians' issues, but to show how we had an inversion of priorities and a huge oportunism taking over the country. About health, Brazil lives a curious situation. The country has a public health system, but almost a quarter of the population pays for private health. Those who can afford private health insurance do it. Those who can't have to be strong against lack of beds in hospitals or doctors, minimal structure, and months to a doctor's appointment. The problem here is not exactly the lack of doctors, but its bad distribution. Once Rio State has 40.9 doctors for every 10,000 patients, and Maranhão has 7.1. The city of Rio, besides its relatively good number of doctors, figures the last place in population satisfaction about health. Only 6.2% of the Brazilian cities had satisfactory results. Teachers in Brazil earn an average salary of $16,300 per year and have precarious structure to teach. 1/5 of the students in the big cities that reach high school don't master reading and writing. Brazil has 13.2 million people over 15 years old who are illiterate. Brazil is the 7th economy of the world. Its economy is between United Kingdom and Russia. Besides the great position, we have a distribution of wealth equivalent to sub-Saharan Africa, the poorest area on earth. For each dollar that a poor citizen receives in Brazil, a rich receives 68. 10% of the richest have 46% of all capital. We have a $10 billion deluxe market in Brazil, but we still have 46% with no basic sanitation. In São Paulo City, almost 15,000 people are living in the streets and 290,000 properties are empty on property speculation. Brazil is one of the world's hotspots of children's sexual exploitation. According to UNICEF, our country has more than 250,000 children being sexually exploited. In times of international events, that sick market gets warmed up with the injection of dollars and euros. Brazil is the world leader in killing by fire gun. In 2010, 36,700 people were shot to death. That's 29 for every 100,000 inhabitants. The numbers of violence in Brazil can be compared to civil war numbers. We are also having a medieval culture habit rising in Brazil. The punishers, as they like to be known, are formed by people who lynch suspects of crimes, making their all justice and taking us back in time. This kind of attitude has been encouraged in open TV when the punishers got national popularity. Every 5 minutes, a woman is attacked in Brazil. In 60% of the cases, the one who attacks or kills is the victim's boyfriend or husband. In a study performed in 87 countries, Brazil got the 7th position where most women are killed. 4.4 in every 100,000. Brazil is the world leader in crimes motivated by sexual orientation. A homosexual is killed every 36 hours in Brazil, and about 70% of these criminals get no punishment at all. 7 of 10 homosexuals have been a victim of physical or verbal aggression. Brazil had a military dictatorship that lasted 21 years. Years of repression, torture, killing, and dozens of missing people. Time when our current police was created, the military police. The PM, as it's known in Brazil, has killed almost 2,000 people in 2012. Between 2005 and 2009, only in São Paulo, PM has killed more than all American police in the same period. Research show that 80% of the population don't feel safe under police custody. The UN officially recommended in 2013 the abolition of military police in Brazil. We have an endemic problem in Brazil about money. Money easily gets the wrong way and gets lost. All the main parties in Brazil, we consider PMDB, PSDB, and PET, have been involved in large corruption schemes since the direct vote system got back in 1989. Just one of them, famous as Banestado, has diverted 24 billion abroad. The political system, the Congress system, and the Supreme Court are made to benefit their impunity. Brazil has ancient lagged politics about drugs. That's the main reason why our prison population has increased 4 times in the last 20 years. We have almost 600,000 people behind bars in a prison system designed for 318,000. We don't mean we need more prisons. We mean that new drug politics would help that issue. Brazilian population is about 50% black and Afro-descendant. Only 8% of public representatives have this ethnicity. As an average, a Caucasian has a 46% higher salary than an Afro-descendant. For every 3 murder victims in Brazil, 2 are black. Of those who receive a minimum wage, 63% are Afro-descendants. Of the richest, only 11%. Maybe the major violation of the human rights. More than 250,000 people were removed from city centers, most of them under violent police repression. That eviction clears the way to property market and construction companies that have been the most succeeded section in Brazilian economy, close to banks. Coincidentally, accidental fires have destroyed a record number of slums in the last 5 years, most of them in areas that had their value raised in about 300% in these years. FIFA imposed some terms as laws to make the World Cup in Brazil. Government accepted almost everything. Multi-millionaire companies free of taxes. FIFA and their sponsors will not pay taxes for any action linked to the World Cup. They changed our law for their own profit. They suspended a law that denied alcohol in stadiums in order to avoid violence, and a law that guaranteed students to pay half the price of a ticket on events. Small market is not allowed. Near the stadiums, street marketers can't work. Brazil is responsible for any damages or losses on events. Provisional courts. placed near the stadiums for quick judgment of protesters or sellers that don't respect FIFA laws. Copyright terms. FIFA has registered for exclusive use some words. One of them is pagode, a dance in Brazil as traditional as samba. Using this term without FIFA's authorization can take you to court. Public spending for private profits. From the $8 billion invested on the championship, only $132 million don't have anything to do with public money. The security plan is going to cost $1.1 billion for federal government. The cities that are receiving matches are also responsible for all structure needed. That represents an investment of several millions in provisional resources. The exemption of taxes for all sponsors of the World Cup applied to companies like Ambev, Hyundai, Coca-Cola, Itaú Bank is equivalent to $15 billion net in 2013. Since 2008, Brazil is the biggest consumer of agrotoxic in the world. An average Brazilian consumes about 5.2 liters of agrotoxic every year. On behalf of profits of agribusiness and chemical industry, Brazil accepts at least 14 kinds of agrotoxics banned in the USA, European Union, and Africa. A parliamentarian in Brazil has a salary of 26,723 reais and 13 cents, almost 37 times the minimum wage. Besides that, they have 30,000 reais to occasional spends, such as food, research, traveling, rent, fuel, consultancy, and clothes. If it's not enough, population pays for each of our 513 congressmen's 25 employees. The Congress in 2013 increased the minimum wage in 90% and their own salary in 61%. Brazil also has 81 senators, 1,059 state parliamentarians, and 59,764 councillors. With all these people, government spends more than in public safety, science and technology, or basic sanitation. Brazilians work 151 days or 5 months per year only to pay taxes. Only Norway works more, 154, while Hungary works 142, Germany 138, and Belgium 102. A recent research with 30 countries shows that we have the worst returning to society of our taxes. 50% of electricity bills, 60% of fuel, and 30% of our salary are taxes.
Subiu, fez pirueta, passando por todos os planetas, foi parar no reinado de um profeta. Teve um anjo que viu, ficou pateta. A cabeça do pobre tava um fato, quando o anjo gritou que cabra macho. São Pedro exclamou: o que é isso? Tinha um anjo que tava junto a Cristo, de célula retado lá embaixo. Ei!